Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the CASACast. We're back for the year. So I'm Harrison. I'm joined by
Izzah.
And today our guest is
Isaac. Hello, pleased to meet you all.
Wonderful. Do you want to give us like a quick introduction to yourself? So
Sure.
For those that don't know you.
Yeah, so my name's Isaac. I am a casual academic here at Curtin University, as well as a registered architect with GHD Design, which is a large form practice. But beyond that, I have a huge interest in futurism, art. Some of you may have followed some of my City 4 work, and some of my other sort of artistic endeavours. So that's sort of a little bit about myself.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was our third year, you came in, I should know you remember second year, but I remember third year, Justin had you do a lecture, and looking at work was so cool. The way you presented is being really cool, and seeing you do the competitions with Chris as well has been really fun to watch, see those things going on. I think I've told some students check out your account as well, because that's just a really nice way that you present all your drawings. It's really cool. It's how did you end up going down that being really influenced by that art and that sort of a way of expressing different architecture?
So that probably came from at uni. When I was working, trying to finish my thesis and stuff like that, I just became obsessed with these certain style of art books, and I found this graphic novel that was in the architecture section, and it was someone had written a book, graphic novel on architecture and different ways to explore space, and I was that's so cool, that's something I want to do. So then I just started doing it, and it just became something I did. So I made my thesis look like that style, and then I made all my art becoming that style, and it was something I just enjoyed. So it was just one book I found randomly in the library that was done in a cool style, and I'm gonna do this style.
That's it. It's I know for me I always look at different art books for my inspirations, especially for portfolios and ways to lay things out. But I remember there was one graphic book I found, I think in third year, that I found really useful. And whenever I'd go to student crits for undergrad students, and sometimes they'd be having issues just putting the graphics up, I just get that book from CASA and just throw it at them and say, go look at this, figure it out. And then it's been cool. I love that. Do you know what the book was called? Do you remember?
I do not remember. It was a manga, a manga artist had done this architecture book. So you can probably see in my art that I am a huge fan of Japanese style art. So I took as much as that, and I find those books, they have particularly manga has a really good control of composition on page. So that was a big thing for me, was trying to control my compositions on page, and the way I presented buildings was took a lot from 1980s and 1990s anime of Akira and all of that kind of futurism stuff. I love all that, and that was me looking at trying to copy and become part of that sort of scene, I guess.
One of my favorite mangas that I've gone through is one called Blame. They're really as very dystopian future, and it explores this deconstructivism, and one of my favorite things about it is the way it uses scale. It just plays around with a human scale, things are just too big, too small, and it feels weird, it feels dystopian, and it sort of just draws you in because it feels off and creates this crazy dystopia. It's really fun to go through and see how he's expressed that work. It drew a lot on Levis's work as well. It's really cool to see.
I love Blake as well.
I know. We should have Kangaroo on this. He'd love this. Talk about it all the time.
I love Blake.
I haven't finished it yet, but I need to go through it. It's so cool.
It made me feel very eerie reading it, because it makes you feel uncomfortable, and I really enjoy that, because it's someone's doing something with space that's giving me a visceral reaction, and that's something that I really enjoy with architecture, is a response to something. So even if it's just imagery of the architecture, because it couldn't possibly exist, but it's still a fun place to explore and a fun place to be.
Such a cool thing.
So did all the basically everything that you took from the graphic novels and everything, do you still take that into your current work as a registered architect?
I do, but less so in my day-to-day job. Day-to-day is more building things, but a lot of the work I do is large-scale infrastructure. So a lot of that mega-scale stuff I still get to explore and do with, and that's sort of really cool. The other way I take it into my day-to-day is it sort of changes. I think it changes your thinking. I hope it does, because I feel I have a way of thinking that's the thing I can sell myself with, is I have a unique way of thinking, a unique perspective, and then that's sort of how I can in practice apply it is this type of thinking and attacking, and that usually comes down to like a few different ways of thinking about a problem. It's like the main way I think about a problem first is like the why of the problem, like what's the cause of this problem, how can we address this cause, and then like go back. And that's sort of these ideas of thinking at scale. And that's why I like architecture, is thinking at really large scale.
Yeah.
So that's the closest way, is thinking at large scales, like 1 to 1,000, 1 to 2,000, 1 to 5,000, 1 to 10,000. Like, I know that's more urban planning, but though thinking of big, when you deal with big buildings and thinking at that scale, it's really fun.
Yeah, no, I did an urban thesis for that reason, because there was a big problem I wanted to like tackle, and like going back and forth between like a human scale and like a large C scale, trying to figure out how to work towards to like answer this like, I guess like this issue that I identified and I want to like address was like really cool. Like you just like consider so much, was like a human scale. It's like so much to consider, like the amount of detail. But when you like zoom out to urban, it's like everything needs to like line up and try to like figure out how to make all this like legibility between the city and make it like easy to like move through. Like there's so much with urban like scale stuff. It's really cool, but it's like really like frustrating as well. So much trial and error.
Yeah, me and Chris have this joke in the competitions. We're just like, oh, we've designed another monument, like another like stupidly huge building. Like everything ends up at this huge scale. I'm like, no, all right. So the last competition we did, we tried really hard to shrink the scale of the building down. It was still pretty big, but it wasn't like this ridiculous mega structure. So we've sort of set a rule that was like, it's another monolith. Let's try do something else now.
So how did you two get into doing competitions with each other?
Chris was my tutor.
Oh.
Chris was my tutor in third year, and then he barely knew me in third year. I remember him in third year. He doesn't remember me. And then fourth year, I did urban studio with him and and then I think we just sort of became friends in that unit. And then I don't even know how we started. No, I started teaching here, and then we're like, let's do a competition together. Because we both. Yeah, so that's how it started. Once I started teaching here, then we started doing competitions. But yeah, he was my tutor in the third and fourth year.
So that's like a yearly occurrence. So you guys do more than yearly.
Yeah, we try and do 2 a year.
Yeah.
So we're meeting up in 2 weeks to do the first meeting for this year.
What is this?
We don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
We don't know because he's got a new child and all that. So we're like, we'll take it slow.
The last competition was a aged care nursing?
It was what was
hospice.
It? Hospice. Yeah, it was a hospice. So that one, and we were really interested in coastal architecture for that because we wanted it to be. You had to pick somewhere in your home country.
Okay.
So we're like, well, what do we know? We know Perth. So we tried to design something that was really distinctive of Perth's like beach culture and like a place that was right. And this is also, we looked through all the competition entries for the last few years. It's like they're all green. They're all full of trees. Let's do something with blues and like a different color palette rather than just a garden. Let's like play with the idea. And that's often a way we work through those competitions is we like look at what everyone's done before. Wow, this is all like, everyone's done a garden, everyone's done this. Let's try and find something a unique take on it. And that's probably why we like competitions, because it's like, let's explore and experiment. So I absolutely recommend competitions when you're out of uni.
When you're out of uni.
Like you can do them in your breaks, but during semester it's literally impossible. The only ones that are like doable are like Super Studio.
Like me and Will were thinking of doing one. We'll see how it goes now that you've said that.
No, if you've got like a break or like on the study break and you can do it. But it's really hard to manage time at university because you end up giving yourself like fully in like
you kind of take everything to uni.
The trick I found was I would try and like tie things together. So I would say I was doing a studio, I would try and tie my methods into it. I would try and tie my history, my tech. So I'd be doing like a mini thesis each semester, be like, all right, I'm focused on this, and this would be the thing. So one semester third year I picked metabolism, then I picked this type of architecture. And so like whatever I was doing in culture, I would pick in my studio. So then I had all this background research ready to go to like be like, it made it work much more efficiently. So I could seem like I was doing much more work than I actually was.
I regret not doing that until
That's
masters.
such an interesting way of thinking. I'm going to try that next time.
No, I definitely recommend it. Because undergrad I didn't do that, but masters I started doing that, and it gave me more free time.
It's very useful.
But when you mentioned the project for the competition, that it felt very Perth-like. It reminded me a lot of what your cohort did for the second year regional studio, especially like with the sandbanks along What was
Point Walter?
Point Walter? Yeah, Point Walter. Yeah, just like
yeah.
really remind me of that because like your hospice it extended a lot out the coast, right?
Yeah, we sort of found like a natural crescent,
Yeah.
and then we like terraformed it to make to reinforce that crescent
Yeah.
with like some spears and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's really cool. And you guys use AI to help like render and animate it, right?
Yeah, we experiment with
Yeah.
AI. We definitely use like AI Photoshop and AI enhancers at the end. For the Museum of Emotion competition, me and Chris, we put a whole bunch of prompts into Midjourney to look for like ideas around like anger, happiness, joy, to look at what it generated, and that was a really big like a way of quickly, because we know like anger, red, blue, but like using AI to sort of help tweak some of those things was really useful in sort of like doing like a mass sampling of, because they're really well trained at recognizing what humans think anger and this image is. So it was a really quick way to start generating ideas, and that's where the anger came almost directly from an AI like space. There was this like reflective spire, and then that sort of became like a big feature in it.
Because I've been messing around with I think it was Flux, like to just experiment with like AI exploration, because I can like upload sketches that I've done and try and like help convert them into like buildings as like a quick way to experiment with ideas and just build upon that. So it's been interesting. Like sometimes it gives very weird results. Like I'm not a big fan of it, but like it's like neat to have because it builds upon especially when you can upload your own drawings, like sketches. It builds upon like your creative abilities a bit more, I think. So it's alright.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, it's where does it sit in the loop for AI? Like I find it does, like people are worried about it replacing people in the loop. I'm less so worried about that, mainly because at the end of the day, architects need to be sued, and so like there's sort of the liability argument to it. But the other thing is, I think you need a human in that loop to translate. Like I just don't see the at least in the next like 15 to 20 years it being like replacement, particularly because there's no good training data for architectural AI models.
Definitely. It feels very like a very like dystopic future that people like bring up when they're talking about like AI and with architecture. I guess like what do you think this whole like dystopian future like feels very like present within like not the AI part but also like architecture. Like it seems to be like a constant theme. Like where do you think it's heading with that, I guess?
AI, dystopia versus utopia.
Utopia,
I think I think it's very easy to look at dystopias and see them as the default outcome. Like I think we're very good at being pessimistic when we look at the future, and I always think of what's the story? The Ones That Walk Away. I don't know if you've read the book, but it's a very short story. But so it's like almost a thought experiment. It's like imagine a society where everyone's needs are taken care of. Imagine these people live idyllic lives. They eat fruit from the trees. Everyone's happy and like living their best life, and they can do whatever they like. We immediately reject that as sort of an idea. But then it's like imagine that same society, but one thing has to happen. One child has to be locked in a box and tortured. Suddenly that world becomes more plausible to us in our head. Like it's like an interesting thing. Like we view sacrifice for good, and that's why we reject utopias. Is we think of a utopia as idyllic, as a heaven, something that's not possible. And I think what a lot of architects for architects to do is to envision these realistic utopias, because I think we have so many good examples of what dystopias could be and the warnings they bring to us, but no one's dreaming of utopias, of what are these beautiful futures that we could have and how could we get there. And I think that's like what I really want to do, is dream of these utopias. Like I think it's more enjoyable and I think if no one dreams of that future, we won't have that future. Like it's very easy to end up in Blade Runner. It's very easy to end up in these like dark futures because we've envisioned them, and that's what we think is going to happen. We think the world's going to become a cyberpunk dystopia because it's what we've envisioned the future to be. If we change our visions of the future, we can change what the future is what I think, at least. That's like mine.
I think I like inherently like the idea of like utopia just like it seems very like boring to me. There's no like chaos, so like my mind like just naturally like rejects it. So like I don't want like a full dystopia. So I think I'm like very like in between of like where I want.
Exactly.
Because I want like that's what I loved about like when I was in Korea, because it felt like a like sort of utopic in an architectural sense, where there's a lot of like there's this like very specific form, layout, very structured part. There's also these super chaotic parts where stuff was everywhere. I felt like it was very like kind of mixed, and it was very fun to experience that.
Yeah.
So that's like what's I sort of like.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue with utopias is we envision them as sterile. We
Yes.
envision them as like a sterile place, and I think when we envision utopia, we have to embrace the things about humanity that are, I don't know, like a bit hedonistic and greed-like. Like we
Yeah.
have these things in ourselves, and I think when we envision utopias, we sterilize humanity, and I think that's the wrong way to tackle that, is to look at the inherent flaws and things that are human being and look at what a utopian. I think a really excellent example is the Culture series by Ian M. Banks. So he writes these stories of this far AI sort of takes care of everything, and it's sort of a godlike AI. They can do everything, and the story are really interesting and really fascinating, and the humans are really flawed in them, but it's still a utopic society. And I think of any society I'd like to live in the future, the Culture series would be the one, because it's just it's fun. And
I should check that out then.
yeah, he's got 7 books.
Okay.
Yeah. But start with Player of Games. Player of Games is good.
Is that the first one, or is that like?
It's the
The
second
best
one, but the first one you can skip the first one, which is
Okay.
cool.
So 6 books good.
Yeah, 6
That's
books.
reading
Yeah,
out,
they're not all, they're standalone stories, so you can read
Oh,
it
okay.
individually.
So it's like from a different perspective,
Yeah.
someone in that utopia every time.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay.
Player
And
of
they don't
Ga-
like connect or anything like that.
there's like some crossover characters in that, but not really. Yeah, Player of Games is he's the best player of like this really complex chess game in the culture, and they send him to a less evolved culture, and he has to beat them at the game, and it's very good. It's a very good story, very fun.
That is how I feel going to different countries playing card games.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know.
But when it comes to thinking about like the future of the built environment, do you think it's like better to? Do you think more of that future idea of what it'll look like comes more from like art, such as like books that you've read, or more like through technology, through AI testing? What sort of like direction do you think the world will head in?
I think it will head. So the way it usually always goes is technology goes first and art comes afterwards. Like a technology, there's a new advancement in technology, like say projector is becoming way better, and now we have all these like crazy light shows on the side of buildings, or drone technology becoming better. Now we express ourselves through drone shows, and I think it will be technology first and then art afterwards. And I think the thing though with that is it doesn't have to be like a long distance. Like I look at some of the work that like robotics labs are doing. They're hiring PhD students that have like dance backgrounds and different things like that to test or come up with routines for their robots as a way of expressing themselves and using this for expression, but it's also a way to train it. So it's sort of like, as you said, evolving like art and science together. And I do think it will be technologically led, but I think art should have a big part to play in that evolution.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially like that robot stuff. I don't want it to be like Ultron coming around and
Yeah,
just, like,
exactly. No one
create
wants
that
to
like big dystopia.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be more fun to see like more like that how like robots integrating with art, and maybe that's a way like how robots sort of like develop this idea of like a soul, maybe like that with that like expression. So that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I was reading about the AI sentience movement the other day.
Yeah.
So it's like a bunch of people, this is completely unrelated to architecture, but a bunch of people, they have their character AI, which I don't know if you know, it's a chatbot on your phone that you can make however you want to.
Yeah.
You can have it like some character, but they're arguing that their characters are becoming sentient. So it's like, I think in the next 10 to 15 years we'll see like an AI rights movement start to form, which would be
Right.
which would be a really interesting thing.
Yeah.
Because I think, I don't know if they are sentient, but it's like these people are arguing for sentience, and that's how we've defined consciousness before, as a group of people protecting another group of conscious beings. So fun space in 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's reached sentience yet. Like I think it's more like it's seeing like the responses that you give and how you react to responses.
Oh, I
and
totally
scores
agree.
on that. Like it's just how like a lot of AI things do. Like I use that to like for card games. I'd give it like articles by different players around the world, like in different languages. It'd read them up and then just like figure out all the theory for me and just like compile it. And then like it's developed its own response because it's been trained to do that.
What card game do you play, by the way?
Yu-Gi-Oh! One Piece, Gundam soon when it comes out. I'm really looking forward to that. Then I guess that's it. Like the other ones are kind of boring. Like I'm not big on Magic, not big on Pokemon. Like,
I hope you're into Magic.
I tried playing Commander with friends, and I remember one time, like I was playing the game, that was my friend's turn, and he performed like an hour-long combo, which would kill us all, and then he messed it up, and I just got really mad and just left.
Yeah,
so I couldn't be bothered. It's
I don't play Commander, I just play like...
Okay, that's fair.
I just play Standard. But anyway, that's completely unrelated to architecture. I was just like, what are you guys?
I don't really play any card games.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, don't get into card games.
Don't get
It's all
into
your
card games,
money.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, with this whole like dystopian future,
Yeah.
and I guess it's the whole like mind over matter kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
if we think of pessimistic worlds, then that's what we're going to design.
Yeah.
Is it like a mind shift that us as like emerging architects need to have
Yeah.
from now? So when we start working, that we can think about a utopian future.
Yeah, I really think that's really important, is the positive outlook on society, because I think, at least like at the moment, there is this sort of want to tear down a system that is broken. Like there's this, like that's why we're seeing so much protest. We're seeing all of this, or we're seeing, I'm not going to get political, but like we're seeing lots of bad things happening around the world. And I think that comes from this mindset of the world, this system is broken, and the only way they can envision the future is tearing down the system and building something new.
Yeah.
And I think if we in the built environment, because as architects we define what the future looks like. When we look at futuristic movies and things, it's the architecture that defines how the future looks.
Yeah.
So as architects, if we have a hopeful vision for the future, the built form will have a hopeful vision for the future. If we start building bunkers and like giant concrete monoliths
Everybody go
to
underground.
to our corporate overlords, like that's the future that we end up with. And if we push back on that and build better societies, society can heal. And I think that's really on us to do, is to envision that future.
It feels like
No pressure, guys. But
no, it feels very like Megatron versus Optimus Prime,
Oh,
especially
no.
in the recent movie, like where one wants to tear down society and like rebuild it, the other wants to like change it like from within, and like this
it's-
approaches. It's like it's cool to see that.
it's always the argument of like, do you become part of the system and do slow incremental structural change like over time, or do you have the grand revolt?
Yeah.
My issue with the grand revolt is no one thinks about the day after the grand revolt. Like, how do we rebuild society? How do we put these systems in? Like, so how do we slowly change society in a way that's better? And I think that's and the first part of doing that is dreaming of that future we want and building from that. So I think that's really, really important. And how to do that? I think the easiest way to envision of the future is like if you can't tell, consume books. Like I read a lot of books, and that gives me the first thing is I read lots of fiction, which gives you empathy, and I think that's because you get to walk in someone else's shoes. You've all heard the talk, but like you really get to experience another person's point of view, and I find that so helpful in architecture, of going into a space and understanding how someone else sees it. And it's little things like, and it's like a journey of like understanding it. Like this was something like I didn't learn probably until too late, but like I was like in my 20s when I learned like about dark spaces at night, and like say like 'cause I'm like a big guy that can walk around anywhere at night and feel completely safe. But it's just like it's like, so when I'm designing spaces, how am I not, I'm just not considering that. But when I start thinking, I'm someone much smaller or not as strong, like how does that change the space? And it's like those little things, and putting yourself into many different types of people's shoes completely change the way we design architecture.
It's really like interesting, like hearing that perspective as well, because when we were in Korea, like Kayla mentioned she felt very like safe like walking around as example. It's like the way they've like done their like passive surveillance and other systems, it feels very like safe to like walk around even late at night. Like it's very big contrast from Australia, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, fair enough. So I just walk around everywhere.
Yeah.
I just don't care. I'm just like, I'm 6 foot and white. I don't care. I can go wherever I want to go. I got that real colonial mindset. But I totally understand. It's like, how do we design these spaces for? And that's where we talk about decolonizing architecture. It's like we're taking that mindset out of it, of you know best and this is the way, of how do we work with local systems, how do we work with local knowledge, and how do we build up from there. So
like me and my brother, we've had this conversation many times, but I have like an irrational fear of the gym. He's like, start go, and I want to, but I just can't figure myself to actually go, and I can't figure out why. But I think it's just like different scenarios, different different people, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the exact same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, you're in that different space, like,
Yeah.
different mindset.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like I know for me, like I'm very like hesitant going to a gym because I just don't like. I don't know. I like other people like see me like doing that. I feel like
You don't want to be perceived.
I don't want to be perceived. So like instead I'll like go
Visible.
to like a park at my house at night, run around there, and do like other like exercises there. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like people won't see me, and I
Yeah.
feel safe as like a tall white guy.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. Is
She's a dark park.
Yeah,
It's pretty.
highly
It's
legit,
got some nice lights. It's pretty
Yeah.
safe. Yeah.
safe in the shadows.
Yeah. No one's living there. It's good.
Yeah.
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 Fun times.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I think that's cool. Like, imagine like what, like that optimism in architecture. Because I know, like, in second year, I was like very like, I think the first half of that semester 2 studio, I was very despair focused on like this no hope. Then like, and so I think Justin said, "Oh, where's the hope? Where's the happiness?" And I went, "Oh, wait, oh," and that like changed my thoughts.
Yeah.
So that was fun trying to figure out how to do that. And our spaces can sort of like have this like feeling of like despair and transform more into like this hope through like warmth and like other things that sort of like make spaces feel like safer and more like accommodating. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's really tricky to do that.
Yeah.
Like the thing I found as well with trying to like do these accommodating spaces is you get them wrong a lot, and like I think that's a big part. Is like we get these spaces wrong, and then there becomes a fear of trying it again. It's like we tried to make this space inclusive. We tried to make the space safe. We've actually made it worse.
Yeah.
So then there's the default mindset to, well, let's go back to the way we've always done it.
Yeah,
It didn't work for everybody, but it worked for some.
Yeah.
So it's about like, okay, well that didn't work. How can we try again? And how can
Yeah.
we change the space? And that comes back to the idea of visioning the future. Like how can we?
Especially because like we like design something, we think it's very good, but we can't. It's a design, we can't physically put ourselves in there. Even if we like go in there with VR, we can't actually like visit the space and have like other people come in and interact with it. It's very like, hard to do. But.
Yeah, I think that's why they say architects aren't good until they're like 60, because like
Yeah.
they've finally learned enough about architecture to actually design space. Like all the masters of architecture are like over 50, and it's like I think they've actually designed space for long enough that they can know when something works and something doesn't work. Not to say like, oh, they're always going to get it right, but I think there is a real need for trial and error and to build buildings enough times to get good at it. And buildings take like 10 years to build, like 5 to 10 years from depending on the scale of the building, but like it's a huge.
You've done the work 5 years earlier. You're seeing it 10 years later, and you're like, oh, that doesn't work, and then you're already 15 years behind. Try something else.
It's crazy.
I know. I think that's good about we've got more like technologies that assist with like rapidly producing buildings, especially a lot more prefabricated stuff. And I think like 3D printing is also really cool in that.
Yeah, the first 3D printed house is going up in Perth. At the moment.
Okay.
It's like
so
one in the
cool.
northern suburbs somewhere. There's like it's like
Nice.
concrete. There's some concrete.
The company, okay.
I really want to go visit it. I'm just gonna like go crash the work site.
Yeah, I know. It'd be interesting because I remember Chris's thesis student last year was doing stuff on 3D printed houses, so it's cool to see that like happening now as well.
Yeah,
it's
it'll be
a fun
really,
thing.
it'll be really interesting to see everyone, because there'll be like local vernacular, because it'll be like literally built of the soil that's around.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so we'll see
Yeah.
how it and then you can sort of do whatever shape you want, which will be fun.
Do you know what sort of shape it looks like? Because the
No,
thesis
that-
student last year, it reminded me of one of the houses from like Capsule Corp and Dragon Ball, and I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
So it'd be really cool. if it looked
I
like
don't
that.
know
Yeah.
what I'm assuming it's going to be pretty. I reckon they're going to go pretty standard. They're going to
Yeah.
go like development-looking house on a flat
So
block.
it doesn't like stand out. So I reckon they should make it stand out.
I mean, I guess
yeah.
with the council things, they can't make it stand out too much. It sort of has to follow the surroundings,
Yeah,
which is a
True.
lot.
I guess. Architects. There's certain houses you look around Perth, like there's like the Mock houses, the 2 examples they give, the cloister houses.
Yeah.
They're just like no street frontage, no clue how they got through planning, but they're there and they're beautiful houses. So I'm
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's very confusing.
I don't know if they like know how to like sneak the stuff through, so
Yeah,
they don't know. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough for that. I don't know how to sneak things through. I'm like, this is where we don't comply. This is where we don't comply. But
Not what I'm looking forward to when I start working.
it's
very pain.
you get used to it. It's fun. Like, I prefer working in architecture to doing. I guess because I do so much competitions, but like that's how I keep that part of and teach. Like, but like getting to build something and design something and then seeing it built is like the craziest feeling.
Yeah.
It's also the most nerve-wracking feeling because it's like, why does it look exactly how I drew it? Like, it's like they drew it, it's exactly how I drew it. That's really, there's so many mistakes in here.
And I'm
It's
trying
really
to
render,
do stuff
real
that like
thing
worked on
next to
finally
each
get
other.
built in, just like, oh, this is happening, this is
Yeah.
really sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like, yeah, no, I really dislike studying. I enjoy working a lot, so like,
Yeah.
Was there a huge like excitement for your first project to ever be built? Like, how did that feel?
It was very exciting. You can go see it if you like. It's go to the Claremont train station and you look at that paving. That was
Yeah.
my paving.
Okay.
It's herringbone, boring paving, but it meant so much to me
Yeah.
seeing the ramp and seeing the paving, and it's just like I can see like that thing I put out. Yeah, it's like it's the most boring thing ever, but I still love it so much. Every time I go there, I'm like, look at it all. It's all here.
Yeah.
So,
Alright,
How's
guys,
that?
CASA field trip.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Claremont
yeah,
train
yeah, go to
station.
the
Yeah.
train station.
For stuff I've worked on, the first thing that I have to see would be like traveling to a random city in Oman. So
Yeah.
like it's a bit far away for a cards
Yeah.
field trip.
Come on.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
So like maybe not for a cards field trip. Yeah, that's like pretty cool.
very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To wait a little longer for my first one. We'll see.
It'll be something. It's always something like I did the bathrooms.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I did this. Like yeah. Yeah.
I think I did like there's like garden beds and pools, like the science
Mm.
fair.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah.
How do you choose your competition and stuff? Is it always more like buildings or a little bit more of like just concept idea kind of?
Usually, me and Chris will have a look individually of like what's an interesting competition coming up and what type. So sometimes we've done like a competition that's like one day.
Oh,
So like we've given ourselves like one day to do it. So we'll usually
Yeah.
pick something that's just like there's a few competitions that have like one drawing, like just one drawing. So we're just like, all right, we'll just do that one. So and then bigger ones, it's usually something that catches our eye. So we did House of Shadow. I thought that was gonna be really cool. Designing a house without any lights.
yeah.
So that would be really fun. Yeah, it's usually stuff that's just like interesting. So we just go through the competition's websites, like that one looks good, that one looks good, and then we'll have a competition. And usually, don't know why, maybe it won't happen this time, but every time me and Chris have been like, no, we're thinking of the same one, let's do that
Oh,
one.
that's
so,
really
so, like, I think we work really well together, that we have very similar interests in that. So
Do you ever go like you finish competition, you're like next year I want to do the same one? Like obviously for the ones that come around every year.
we've talked about it, and we're trying to have that conversation at the moment. If we're going to re-enter this year and try it again,
Yeah.
because we're like, we were robbed. It was so good. This was so good. We were robbed.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see if we re-enter the hospice and make some changes, but we don't know yet. We don't know yet. It's the answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you're definitely like, I want to re-enter it. Like I wouldn't mind doing the nuclear bomb. So that's what I did individually. Was the nuclear bomb memorial.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind doing that again with Chris to see,
Okay.
like, because I think that's a really fun. That's again like a large scale
Yeah, yeah.
architecture.
Yeah.
So I would like to do that again, just to like, and because it can be fully speculative. So I think that'd be good.
Definitely.
Yeah, the only one with that is that you're not allowed any words on the panel, so you have to communicate it just purely with imagery.
Just for images.
And the first time I did it, I had like all this thinking that went into it,
But
and there was no words to
Yeah.
explain it, and I was like, I didn't show it clearly enough.
So how would you go about that? Everything would like every thinking thing needs to translate to a diagram.
A diagram,
Yeah.
or like one of the ones that won it was a really simple idea. They took the crater and they just filled it up with red poppies, and they had like a
Oh.
bridge that went out to the center, and it was
Yeah.
like a really clean, pure idea that translated really well to renders and some
Yeah.
triple plans. Where mine was like had lots more layers, but the idea wasn't as clean, and it needed me to explain the idea behind it to really, because like mine was I took the volume of humans and I made a hole that deep in the ground of how many people had
Oh,
died.
I remember this one, yeah.
Yeah, I've probably showed it to you guys
Yes.
before. But that competition, it's like I needed to explain that, of like that's where the form came from. It's not just
Yeah.
a giant hole in the ground.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, with those ones that use no words, really pure, clean ideas are what you need to do. Something that's really simple, something that's like base geometry will work really well for those. And that's my thinking for it anyway.
And translating that into uni, that's something like every architecture student really struggles with.
Yeah.
Like you're always talking to try and explain something because your drawing doesn't show enough, right?
Yeah.
So, do you have any advice on how to make our drawings like clearer and like more punchy and just
Show it to your parents.
Yes, I was
Show
going
it
to
to
say
your
that.
parents.
Show it to your parents.
Okay.
Your parents are the most brutal critics you'll ever have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be like, I don't understand. Why? What do you mean? And so I think showing it to people that are out, and do not show it to architects.
Yeah. Okay.
Show it to someone outside of architecture.
So
I think
the
that
farthest person you can get from architecture.
Yeah, and if they can read it and understand what you're talking about, even if you're talking through it and they can see what you're talking through, that's the way to get the pure idea through. Like, I think architects were very good at reading plans, we're very good at reading sections, we're very good at reading architectural drawings. And I think that can be our downfall, is we have our own little secret language that we use to communicate with each other. And then when we go to the public and we go to other people, they can't read our language. So how do we communicate that to them? And I think that's the most important thing, is communication of our ideas to the public, because they're the ones that at the end of the day that are going to engage with the space. So.
No, definitely. Like, I remember for thesis, like, I was showing friends like drawings, like my panels without any text on them, and I was like, what do you see? What's the idea? Because like I couldn't show my family because like it was related to like their home city. Like if they see that, they're gonna like, they have a lot of like bias, they just don't know what the project is. So I need someone like who's unbiased, who can like uninformed, who can like see what's going on and see what they think of it. Because that's what your thesis panel's gonna be. They're not gonna, they'll know like parts of your project, but they'll still like be like very like objective when they're marking it and like reviewing it.
Yeah, it's really hard to like translate your ideas to a page. Like like even now when I have to do page layouts and competitions at work, I'm like, it never gets any easier. It never gets easier. It's always like, how do we lay out a panel that's neat and clean and has the right weight and the right hierarchy? It always takes time, and there's no trick to it. It's just like moving things around in InDesign forever and ever.
I wonder if any student like has like got like one of their like drawings and like uploaded it to ChatGPT and asked, what do you see when you see this drawing? Like,
I wonder.
Because that's something like that's like an objective like way to do it. I don't know what response it give you. Like, it might be like kind of weird, but like it'd be like interesting to see like what it says.
I think it will probably be pretty. I'm gonna give that a shot. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go do that when I get home. That would be fun. Give it more of my abstract stuff.
Because it could have like a very like informed opinion, or you can just say, or you can maybe like limit like what sort of like response it gives by like from a non-architecture perspective. Like, what do you see when you see this building? What do you feel? What stands out? That'd be interesting.
Give it some. Do some query and response. Be good.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, hot tip.
Start testing
use real people first. Like, not that use, but like ask your friends, ask your family. That'd be more interesting, but like
try it out.
Yeah, try it out if you want. It could be funny.
Let us know how it goes.
Yeah, see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'll be real curious. Yeah.
No.
You got I'm thinking a lot about this now. So.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder. I feel like someone would just give gibberish. Like, would just give like.
I
think.
I think the first time it's not going to understand what you're asking.
Yeah.
It'll be like, I see a roof, I see walls, I see a door.
Yeah.
And then you have to like feed it a little bit more.
Yeah, like tell me about this word, my key concept word. That's all AI systems at the moment are terrible at reading architecture because there's no training data.
Yeah.
So architects, because of the way the copyright works, are so secretive with their drawings. So you've probably tried to find details on how to build things. It's impossible.
Yes.
They don't exist. They don't exist on the internet, and if they do, they're really terrible.
They're like the blurriest thing.
They're like, we've got 29 like fucking pixels here.
Yeah.
But I think so that's like why AI is so bad at architecture. Is they're not trained. They're really bad. There's no training data on them, which is good for us. Is like
it's going to take them longer to figure it out.
It would just take them longer, and firms will individually develop their AI systems, I think, rather than because they'll have their own storehouse of information and their own data lake, and they'll use that data to build their own systems. So then you'll end up with people like this AI can produce a Zaha Hadid building. It can produce maybe not Peter Zumthor, because his buildings seem maybe Peter Zumthor, but like we'll see.
I've seen it like a lot overseas already, like people like doing that with like in firms and also like with our own stuff. Like I've seen it a lot.
Exactly. Like people are definitely building their own systems internally. If you want to do it, you can use Grasshopper and Stable Diffusion and your own drawings.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's definitely good. I guess is there anything else we want to go over, or something that I think that's good range, covers everything, or.
I'm happy. It's been fun talking. I got to chat about.
So if people want to see your work and your competitions, where can they see that stuff?
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram at isaac.mc.design. Yeah.
Edit this here, July. Go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just launched Top Secret,
Ooh.
a new website called the Fourth City, which is all my Fourth City work and all the stories that go with it online.
Was the Fourth City the name of your thesis, or?
The Fourth City was the name of the project I did after my thesis.
Oh.
So it was
your thesis is like the
the Library of Make Believe and Augmented Fantasy is the name.
Nice.
Yeah, love a long title.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's two things you can have a look at.
That's cool.
But thank you guys for having me. It's been really good.
And I thank you for coming down.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that has been the second episode of the CASACast for the year. Thank you for watching. We've wanted to get Isaac on for a while, so it's really cool finally be able to do this. And yeah, hopefully there's another episode coming soon. It should be recorded. I don't know when it's going to be edited, but thank you for watching and stay tuned for more. Bye.